Today on In the Wood Yard, I have 9 reasons why I love electric chainsaws. Here we go. So I've been lucky enough to run several different brands of chainsaws that are electric, and they're nice. I like them. There's things I don't like about them, there's things I really like about them. I'm going to talk about them today. Now I have run this Olimo that the company sent me to use, and it cuts pretty dang good. I've used a Milwaukee, cuts pretty dang good. My brother has one, and I like it. Another company, it's Badger Power, that's the name of it. They sent me one, and I like that one a lot too. I have a video on both of these chainsaws I mentioned, this one and the blue one, on my channel. And I have one with the Milwaukee. Now, I know there's guys that have the Makitas, and there's guys that have Ryobis I've seen. There are several brands that are pretty darn nice that work really good. The Stihl and Husqvarna and Echo all have chainsaws that are battery powered now. They have pro models and they have consumer models. Very nice. I have not run them yet. I'm going to. The Stihl one, I watched a guy running one. He said he loves it. So just the other day, my brother Ken and I were doing some beaver trapping in northern Wisconsin on a guy he knows that has a property. He actually has thousands of acres. He's a professional logger. So that's saying something. The guy's a professional logger, and he likes his electric chainsaw. He had a Stihl. I don't know what model it was. But we were trapping and setting traps, and he was trimming lanes by some of the ponds that he has where he rides his side-by-side around. So he was trimming branches, and there was a couple trees, small trees that were across the road. He was trimming it out. And so I asked him, I said, well, how do you like it? He says, I absolutely love this thing. He said, I used to carry a chainsaw and, you know, gas and oil with me. He says, now I fill the chainsaw up with bar oil, throw it in my side-by-side, slap the battery on and charge it once in a while. And he said, I always have it with me. He says, very convenient. Professional logger, like I said. So that's really is saying something. So he likes it a lot. So reason number 9 that I came up with, and this is something that I didn't expect. I took one of these chainsaws. I have this one and the other one that I took home, and I showed my wife, because my wife is always saying, can you get me something I can trim around the house? Some kind of a saw? Well, I have a couple pole saws and a couple hand saws. Well, I showed her this, and she said, I like it. I don't have to put gas in it. I don't have to worry about starting it. All I do is squeeze the trigger. So she liked it, because all my other chainsaws she would not run, because she says, I'm afraid of them. She says, I think they're too big and noisy. So there's that noise thing. She really liked it. So again, homeowners, people that aren't used to chainsaws like my wife, she's going to like this thing for doing some trimming around the yard and her bushes and shrubs and all the things around the house. So that's a good thing. Number 8, there's a lot of manufacturers. It's not just 2 or 3 people that make chainsaws, because you're kind of limited on gas chainsaws now. There's 3 major companies. I know there's some others, but there's 3 major ones that produce most of the chainsaws. Husqvarna, Stihl, and Echo. But with the battery-powered ones, there's tons of new companies coming out with tools like chainsaws, blowers, weed whackers, vacuums, power washers. They're coming out with all kinds of things that you can use these batteries with in their line. And so that's a good thing, I think, because by having many manufacturers, that increases the chance that there's going to be innovation. There's going to be competition, so the quality will get better. They're going to come up with things that will make it work better and maybe cut faster, maybe quieter, last longer. Those are all good things. So competition is a good thing. Number 6 is really a good one. The batteries. You push a button, they pop out, you slap in new batteries. That's it. But you got to have the extra batteries. So that's one of the things. You got to buy them. So that's a little bit of a negative. But the fact that all you got to do is swap out your batteries and you're good to go again, awesome. People that do yard work professionally have got to love the battery-powered equipment now, because they can buy a line of equipment and use it in everything they've got. They can use it in their chainsaws, they can use it in their trimmers, their blowers, all kinds of equipment that they have, and they can have a bunch of batteries that they can swap between equipment and use it. That is a great thing. The only drawback, and I've mentioned this before, is it is proprietary, so you gotta have the same brand. And that's what's really nice, like I had mentioned, about if you've already got a brand like Milwaukee and you've got batteries for other tools, you buy another tool and you've already got the battery. So you can have multiple batteries for many different tools. Very cool. I like it. Number 7, the battery life has improved tremendously with these things over the years. I have some old power equipment that had built-in batteries. They weren't swappable. I've got a drill for sure and a couple other things that are old I don't even use anymore because the batteries hardly keep a charge. I can't get them to power up because they weren't swappable. And the quality of the batteries as far as the voltage and the amperage that they produced, terrible. The new ones have got some serious power. The new technology that they're developing in batteries is fantastic. It's only going to get better. So that is a very good thing. Years ago, stuff didn't last. And that's why I'm kind of negative on it. More older guys like me and older are not really sold on the battery thing because the first stuff that came out with batteries wasn't good. It didn't have power. I wanted something with a cord, something that had power that was continuous. But that's also the beauty of these. There's no cord. You can go anywhere with them. Number 5, I kind of mentioned, no gas, no leaking, no fumes. It's awesome. You could keep something like this right in the cab of your truck, your side-by-side, your ATV, keep it with your tractor, and you don't have gas leaking out because all chainsaws do leak gas. They just do over time. So you don't have that smell, and you can put it right into the cab of your vehicle and not die from the gas fumes. So having the battery where it's not going to be stinking like gas does, and with the gas chainsaw, not only do you have to have the gas chainsaw, you have to have the gas can with you. So there's gas involved, which stinks. Unless you like the smell of gas, I don't really like it. Number 4, this is something my wife mentioned. She says, well, how do I start it? I said, you squeeze one button, you squeeze the other button. It's on. I showed her. She said, well, I like that. I don't like having to pull ropes to get stuff started. So quick starting is huge. You just grab it, it's ready to go. You don't have to warm it up. There's no priming it. There's no making sure you got the fuel. Of course, you got to make sure the battery's charged. Keep some bar oil in it. You squeeze the trigger and go. It's just ready to run at all times. So my wife mentioned, it's about time they come up with something. I have to pull the rope. So there is that. Quick starting and not having to warm it up. Awesome. Number 3, for their size, they cut really good. I have used, like I said, I've used 3 different models, brands I should say. I've used this Olimo, I've used the Blue Badger one, and I've also used the Milwaukee one. And like I said, I watched the guy running the steel one the other day. They cut really good. For their size, they're every bit as good as a gas chainsaw of that size, which is, you know, a 30-ish to 40 cc saw maybe, somewhere in there. They cut really good. Bar size is big enough for what most people are ever going to need. The chances you're going to need something super huge is pretty slim for doing yard work. Number 2 is a big one for guys that do yard work at all hours of the day and maybe even night. They're fairly quiet. They do make some noise when you got them running, but it's not like a combustion engine that's popping and making a lot of noise, which I actually don't mind the sound. I think it sounds good, but they're quiet. So people that are doing work in their yards aren't going to be disturbing their neighbors. They can go out early in the morning, do some trimming. They can stay out later in the evening, do some trimming, whatever they want to do. So that's cool. The fact that they're quiet is another reason why my wife liked it. When I showed her, she's like, she says, well, it doesn't make hardly any noise at all. She said, do I have to wear earplugs? I said, you don't have to. I said, I would, because if you use it a lot, it does produce some noise, because I like to protect the little bit of hearing I have left. But they're fairly quiet. Pretty cool. Number 1 reason, super handy. You can have them with you all the time. There's no reason to not keep a tool like this in your truck at all times. They're not that big. You can always have it. If you own any kind of property, or if you're going out onto trails where you could possibly have limbs or trees in the way, to just have it along would be awesome. Like I mentioned, that buddy of my brother's that owns the property, he was trimming lanes while we were doing something else. He said he does that all the time. He'll be riding around, checking out trees that they want to cut, because he's got literally thousands of acres, and he rides a side-by-side. He says he's got it all the time. He said there's always a tree down here and there, or a branch that broke off, and he trims it, keeps his trails open. And for a guy that's got a tractor with property, you could keep this right in your tractor or a scabbard on the side, have it with you all the time, and not have to worry about having gas to take along. It's one thing. You check the battery, make sure it's good to go, or keep it charged on a regular basis, or have a spare battery, or 2, or 3, or 10, however many you want, and you're good to go. That is pretty dang cool, so I like that. I've got a bonus one right now. Here we go. So the bonus one is that if you've already got a system with batteries, like the Milwaukee, you can use all the batteries that they have with this, with all your other tools. So once you get committed to a product, brand, you can use it with everything. And that is a very cool thing to be able to have. To be able to have these batteries and use them for different types of tools, fantastic. So if you've already bought into something, maybe you want to stick with that as far as a brand. That's probably the way to go. And like I said, there's so many manufacturers making these things now. There's a lot of competition out there. So the quality, I think, is going to get better. As far as the batteries, the quality of the saws themselves is going to get better. Everybody wants to improve. I think the future is bright. I'm looking forward to the day when they make a big saw. When I mean big, I mean like a 70cc saw size, comparable anyway, with power. I want to see what that's going to be like, and how big is the battery going to be, and how long will it last. It's going to happen eventually, because these things have come a long way. Eventually, someone's going to come out with a pro-grade, bigger saw, and it will be pretty dang cool. Kind of anxious to see what's going to happen. That's it for today, folks. Right now, you're going to go watch some more videos on my channel. There's 1,300 of them waiting for you. And if you can't do that, for sure tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m., I'll be back here with a new video. Good night, Irene.